All right, you guys, so we are back with page 2 of the Unit 10 review. The directions for these two problems say, use the given quadratic equation, list the axis of symmetry and the vertex. Use the formula x equals the opposite of b over 2a as needed. So in order to find the axis of symmetry, you will always need to use this formula. So that's where we're going to start. X equals the opposite of b over 2a. A is the number in front of the x squared, b is the number in front of the plane x, and c is the whole number by himself. So I plug in. The opposite of a positive 2 is a negative 2 over 2 times a. A here is 1. Negative 2 over 2 leaves me with the answer of negative 1. When you're writing it for the axis of symmetry, make sure you write it as the equation x equals negative 1. Then you've actually found the x value of your vertex. So you can go to your vertex, which is going to be a point, so I put parentheses around it. And you know the x part is the negative 1. In order to find the y, you have to plug in to your original equation. Y equals parentheses negative 1 squared plus 2 times the negative 1 plus 3. And if you put parentheses around wherever the x would be, so here and here, then you can plug this into your calculator just like normal. If you'd like to do the math step by step, you can. Y equals negative 1 squared is 1. 2 times the negative 1 is negative 2 plus 3. 1 minus 2 is a negative 1 plus 3 is positive 2. So your y value is a positive 2. And that point is going to be the vertex of your point. And that's all they ask us. So we can do that same thing for number 5. The axis of symmetry is where we start. X equals the opposite of b over 2a. In this case, b is 8. So the opposite of b is a negative 8 over 2 times a. Here, a is a negative 2. Negative 8 over 2 times the negative 2 is negative 4. Negative 8 divided by negative 4, your axis of symmetry is positive 2. The vertex, remember, is a point with the x value from your axis of symmetry, and then you go back and plug into your original equation to solve for the y. Make sure you put parentheses around where the x would be, and then you're just going to plug into your calculator. Negative 2 times 2 squared plus 8 parentheses 2 minus 5. And here, make sure that you make this a minus 5 in your calculator. I know several of my students sometimes put that as a negative 5, and that will mess up your answer. So it is minus 5. And I got 3. So your vertex is 2, 3. Number 6 and 7 is asking us to really just look at the formulas, state whether or not we're going to have a minimum or a maximum value, and then find that value. And when it says find that value, what it really means is find the vertex. Because your minimum and your maximum point is your vertex. So we have to find that vertex. In order to see if it's a minimum or maximum, you need to see whether it's going to point up or down. If it's a maximum, it'll be at the very top of your graph, so your graph will be pointing down. If it's a minimum, then your vertex will be at the bottom of the graph, where your graph is pointing up. And what you want to do is look at the a value. When the a value is negative, then it's pointing down. So I'm going to have a maximum for this equation. If you look at number 7, a is positive. It's a positive 1. So it's going to be pointing up, which is going to give me a minimum. Now I need to find the value of my vertex. I know to start with the value of my vertex, I need to find the x coordinate, which is opposite of b over 2a. In this case, b is 4, so the opposite of b is a negative 4 over 2 times a. A is a negative 2. So negative 4 divided by 2 times a negative 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 is positive 1. And then to find the y part, you go back and plug that 1 in to your original equation. Y equals negative 2 parentheses 1 squared plus 4 times 1 minus 5. Making sure you put parentheses right around where the x would be. So you trap that x in parentheses. You can plug that into your calculator. Negative 2 parentheses 1 squared plus 4 times 1 minus 5, and you should get negative 3. On number 7, you want to do that same thing. In order to find the value, you start with the x, which is the axis of symmetry. X equals the opposite of b over 2a. In this case, b is 6, so the opposite of positive 6 is negative 6, over 2 times a, which is 1. You get negative 6 over 2, which is negative 3. And once you have the x value, you can go back, plug him into the original equation, y equals negative 3 squared plus 6 times the negative 3 minus 5, making sure you put parentheses around what the x is. So negative 3 squared is 9 plus a negative 18 minus 5. I got a negative 14. So it was a good idea to go back and double check those for sure. So all the negative signs, make sure you put these guys in parentheses right. Make sure this one is minus 5. Okay? Well, that is it for page 2 of our Unit 10 review. Page 3 is coming up next.